have an empty room for Kathy. Can she hear me?
Hello.
Hi.
I'll be right back.
No worries.
I was not sure if anybody was actually doing these right now this week
Why?
because of the convention.
Oh, that ended on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending upon if you're an icon agent or not. So,
Okay.
yep, we're good.
Well,
And we did them anyway. I had Bree cover Tuesday for me.
I didn't sign on. I didn't even try.
No worries at all. None. So
This morning I went,
you get my undivided attention.
ooh, how lovely.
Aha! I lied. Nellie's coming on, but close enough. Let's hear some good news.
Okay. I can think of a few things. One,
Love it.
Chad is working on his first contract as EXP.
Yay.
He said that he's pulling stuff together to make an offer this morning.
Okay.
I've been being crazy yesterday to try to work with the buyers that I've got out of state.
Mhm.
And so that's been all over the place. I thought I was actually going to go see the same house yesterday morning that Chad is making the offer on.
Mhm.
Only to find out with an early morning text, which I didn't hear when it came in yesterday, that they changed their mind and I was going in a totally different direction.
You know, this makes me laugh so hard because my mom told me one time, she's like, I decided I want to be a real estate agent. It's really easy. And I'm like, all right, mom. I'm like, you want to know what your life is going to look like? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, cool. Two things. One, you can never go to the store without full makeup on, and you can't go. I mean, she never used to go in her jammies anymore, but I'm like, you cannot go in your jammies. You have to have full makeup. You got to look perfect all the time. And this was back in the days when you really did. And she's
Good, because I've blown that already.
like, okay. I go, and you're going to get up and plan your entire day. And then within 5 minutes, the whole thing's going to be shredded to bits. And you're going to have to redo the entire thing, maybe 2, 3 more times throughout the day. And my mom says, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Well, that definitely was so true for yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, I had planned to go sit on this thing to review mortgages with this a lender that every once in a while does a group presentation, buys you lunch, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got there for the last 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I was supposed to be going over the mountain that way
Mm-hmm.
for an 11:15 preview. Instead, like I said, waking up to seeing a text that was sent to me at 5 something in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going the other way, trying to arrange it, not only saying, go see this, but we want to put an offer in the same breath, because they're out of state,
Right.
So I'm still working on that. I never knew that there were agents, and I don't know if everywhere needs this, but I didn't know that an agent that did a listing wouldn't put the residential property disclosure that DPOR says you have to do in the documents.
Mm.
So, and this lady's a broker. I mean, come on.
So you just learned something very valuable.
I'm going to be good. Yes. What?
Well, I had a former broker who said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all, which is true because that's basically the code, the realtor code. And so he would say, do you remember so-and-so? And I'm like, yep. And then he would not say anything. I'm like, totally got that. So broker doesn't mean anything. Agent doesn't mean anything. Nothing really means anything unless you've got experience. Doesn't mean anything. I've been doing it for 50 years, 30 years, 20, 10, whatever. Doesn't mean anything. I do 100 houses a year. Doesn't mean anything. None of that means anything. There are people who will do what is supposed to be done and handle it in a business-like manner. Is a very tiny percentage. And the rest of them are POSs. And I know that sounds harsh. So I use it in my head. I ask this question. Are they just ignorant? And I mean like in a, like, are you a moron? Although maybe, but do you just not know? Or are you a prideful schmuck that doesn't care and you're not unteachable and or you're unethical? And if you really don't know, then I'm totally cool with teaching you and walking you through and I'll recruit you because you just don't know. And maybe you're out there breaking the law and you don't know. Um, but if you're the other thing, I'm just like, well, and I say that because in Washington State, I sold my own property and the person that bought it back in 2009, I think, when the market was tanked, it was the very first offer that came in. It was the only offer that came in, negotiated through it. They did not have an agent on the other side. I said, no worries. We'll just write it up and I'll just handle both sides of the transaction. It's all good. Now I know ethically I will do what is good and right. And I know that about me. I found out later when I joined a different office, and my broker was totally cool with this. She knew exactly what I was doing, that that's highly illegal in Washington State. And I could have gotten sued for a 6-year time frame from doing that. And that placed me in a horrible position, even though I did exactly what my broker told me to do. So I told you that to tell you this. Whenever in doubt, go to your broker and do what your broker tells you to do. And if you always do that, if anything ever happens, I went to my broker told me to do this.
And you're covered.
More or less, yes. Because the bottom line is if anyone's gonna sue, they're gonna sue the deepest pocket. So that is not my pocket. It's going to be
not mine.
Pocket. It's going to be the company pocket. It isn't their pocket's way deeper than my pocket, which is also a good point. If anyone ever wants to list the house themselves, or if they want to go with a little tiny fly by night crappy company, I'm going to ask them, I'm going to say, we're in a very litigious state. If they get sued, did you want to have the deepest pocket in this transaction? Because if you don't, I recommend that you go with a big company that's got a nice, big, deep pocket. So that's that side. All right. Cool beans. Nellie just left. So Brianna, give us some good news.
Some good news is, fingers crossed, I'm working with an investor and we're making offers on 4 properties.
Ooh.
Well, we've made offers and we're negotiating. And then we're going to do another 5 properties next week.
Okay. If he got all 4, is he buying all 4 or is he just buying one of those 4?
He's going to buy all 4.
Wow. Cool beans, girl. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Congratulations. All right. Nellie, what do you got for some good news?
What is it? If you have nothing to say, don't say anything. I don't have.
So
I don't have.
Did you generate yesterday?
Some, not a whole lot.
Well, okay. If you lead generated and that's all you did, then that's good news. You lead generated.
I lead generated and I did. I
Perfect.
sent emails out and stuff.
All righty then. Michael, who's quiet, dark, and on mute. Tell me some good news.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I had an appointment the day before yesterday, but the guy wants $1 million for his house and it's not worth $1 million. So
hang on, stick with good news. So appointment yesterday?
that was good news.
Awesome.
And the guy was very nice also, was very nice to talk to him.
Mhm.
He was smart. And so I have a contact out of it, a good contact. And he also owns rental property in the town I live in.
That's
So,
a very good piece of news.
yeah, so he was nice, but $1 million, I said maybe 900. I thought 900 was good enough. It would, he should be smart enough because I'll rent it out. So then when I said, well, you're going to rent it, there's a lot of pitfalls with renting. He goes, well, I already own rental property. I said, okay, fine. So.
All right, so let's go straight from there. Thank you. Right into challenges then. And is the challenge that you want to deal with pricing conversations, or is there other challenges that we want to circle around?
I don't think the pricing conversation was bad. I just think that he was unrealistic.
Okay, and that's
educate.
Pardon me?
So you have to educate.
No, I agree with that, but this guy was a very confident real estate savvy person, and he made up his mind on a number, and, you know, you have to walk away sometimes, you know, you can't beat it to death. So, you know, I can have an ongoing relationship with this guy, which would be the most positive thing that came out of it. So,
Okay. Out of curiosity, and I am going to fully acknowledge that I'm not there, wasn't there, can't be there. And sometimes you do maintain the relationship for the future, and you come back out of fight another day, and I get all of those things. And how do you handle your pricing objections when you do have pricing objections? Like what kind of techniques do you use, or what are your scripts, or what do you say, that kind of thing?
well, I knew going into the meeting that he wanted $1 million for his property.
That's good. I try and get that also out of everybody. I want to know what it is I'm up against, so I know what it is I'm facing, and I know in my head what I need to make sure I'm prepped on.
And, you know, I talked to him 4 times before we met.
Mhm.
So the point was, I said, well, I don't know, I really beat on him to get an appointment. I probably shouldn't have wasted my time.
You D'd on him? You were high D?
Well, I wanted that appointment, so I got it. You know,
Yes,
so-
Michael, that's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
So he's, I get the impression, he's kind of a wealthy guy, but he owns multiple properties. He lives in a very nice house in a very nice spot, but it's not worth $1 million, and he wasn't going to budge from that number. So, you know, what can I do?
So then I go back to so that's what I'm asking. When you're in a situation where somebody is adamant about their price, whatever it is, and it's over, which it usually is when they're adamant about their
Well,
price.
I showed him the comps. There's a very good comp within a very short distance from his house that just sold, I think, at a very high price of $900,000. And it was a good comp, you know, for his house.
Mhm.
And I said, you know, I think 900,000 is the limit we can get for this house. And that $900,000 house had also kind of been flipped.
Mhm.
You know, I will call it a light flip. In other words, cleaned up.
Right.
But cute house, but on a very steep hill. Anyway.
In Florida?
No. He's up north.
No,
Oh, okay.
Where
Oh my
steep
God.
hills matter. Steep hills in Florida don't matter. Well, if we ever had one, it doesn't matter. Steep hills up north kind of matter because of ice and snow in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here's my question. Would you like us to pitch in with pricing objections and those kinds of tools?
What do you mean pitch in?
Like all of us pitch in with what kind of things that we use when we meet
Yeah,
with.
sure, why not?
All right, let's dig in. Who's got some stuff? Let's dig in.
I got a Gina thing. I haven't been in that situation.
Hang on one second, Kay. Just a heads up, what we're doing is we're focusing on handling pricing objections. Michael just had a really good appointment with the guy who's adamant that his house is a mill. It's not a mill, it's 900. And so we're just kind of pitching in with some different stuff around that.
By the way, he's the second person in 2 weeks that was very similar in attitude about the price of his house. The other one I didn't meet, but I talked to him a long time on the phone.
Yep, it's a
Michael, how did you say he came up with those numbers with the million?
I don't know. That was his number.
All right.
Okay. So maybe
Actually, I think his point was, I'm not selling it until I can get $1 million. He didn't say it was worth that much now. Or he
Right.
didn't know. He was willing to accept my analysis of what I thought it was worth.
Okay.
And he accepted what I said.
Oh,
That's-
but he's thinking if he waits, he can get $1 million.
Well, I think he really doesn't want to sell it, actually.
That's what I
Oh,
was going to ask also. What's his motivation?
His motivation is that he's lived in the house for more than 10 years. He has 3 children that are getting into school age. He wants to move to a better school district.
school district.
Right, we don't use that word school district, but you guys all do, so I'll use that. And he's able to do that without selling this house, so it's not like he has to sell to move.
So if he doesn't sell, what's he gonna do with the home? Rent it?
That's his claim, yes.
So did you
I
pull
told
up
him I'm
rent-
gonna follow up with him in a couple of months, and he said, fine,
Okay.
that's perfect, you know.
Did
so.
you pull up rent rent projections. Rent element or can pull up rent projections. And then has he taken into account what it is to be a landlord?
He has other rental property, so
Oh, so he
I
managed.
started down that road, but then he's like, well, I own 2 multifamilies in Melrose, very close to where I live, actually, so
Does he like being a landlord?
he says it's no problem, so I don't know. I mean, I'm a landlord, I don't think it's no problem.
Right.
So we covered all those sides on that one. I think, is the house the type of a house that you would rent, or is it like I've sold property that we didn't rent and we didn't keep even though we could have because it was too nice in the area to rent. Finishes were too nice. It was just too nice. Had it been a mid-level house, that would have been a completely different thing, but it wasn't. It was an upper end house. And so we're like, both of us, my husband and I are like, no, we don't want to rent it out.
This is a really nice house, but
Mhm.
it's not, what's the word I want to use? You know, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. It's not bad at all. You know, and it's really in a nice location. And not only is it a nice location, but it's very close to the public transportation.
Okay.
It's a really nice house.
All right. So you've got a guy that doesn't really have a ton of motivation, but he does want to get his kids into a better school system, district, whatever it is you call it out there.
We call it town. We don't,
do you
every
call it?
town has their own, every city or town has their
Okay,
own.
so he does want to move to a better town. Isn't really, it does understand renting, gets the concept, has no issues, no fear, no nothing around that. So awesome. Then on the other side, where were you looking? And have you signed a contract with an agent moving forward on that one? I'd like to help you move then.
He's not ready to move yet, he told me. So,
So,
you know,
okay, so were you guys gonna get your kids? So Michael, were you guys gonna, were you gonna put your kids in the school district this year starting, or were you looking for next year?
I think his kids must already be in the school district or it's the town schools.
The town
but
schools, yeah.
He wants, I guess, as they get older, he wants them in the better school system.
All right, so when do you think that, Michael, when do you think that might be, that you would?
I did ask him that question. He
Huh?
said within the next 2 to 3 years, so.
Okay,
Oh.
and because, okay, perfect. So Michael, out of curiosity, bless whoever that was, out of curiosity, Michael, I mean, you're a landlord, you're savvy. Do you see prices going up or down over the next, 2, 3 years?
Oh, he was very condescending to me about my predictions about the real estate market.
Okay,
He was very knowledgeable about the real estate market according to him. And, he made valid points, so I wasn't going to argue with him. He had his points. He believes that the real estate market is going to, because I said, you should probably sell now. This is, going to be the highest price you're going to get. He goes, no, it's going to go for 5 more years.
we're gonna go up for 5 more years.
That's what he says. So maybe,
Oh.
I hope he's right.
Yeah, well, yeah, it'd be awesome. I don't think he is, but, all right.
Well, here he could be right. I mean, we don't have any slowdown here at all. It's insane here, more than ever, actually, right now.
So Michael, if he fixes up his house, cleans it up, does the landscaping, whatever it is that you said it was nice, but not quite, would it bring it up to that million?
No, there's only in that whole town in the last year, I also did a market analysis where I told him, how many houses were on the market, how many months supply. And then I also did it in the 900 to 1 million mark. In the 900 to 1 million price range, there were 4 houses sold in the last year, and there are 2 on the market. So it's a 6-month supply. It's going to be on the market for a while at $1 million, or even at 900,000, it will be on the market for a while, I think.
Right.
So, anyway, that's what I told them about.
Okay, let's do this. Because we're on the subject, let's throw out some pricing objections that you guys have, just so we've got them in our back pocket and know how to deal with them. And then if we have time, we'll move to something else. And we'll just like round robin really quickly. Nellie, what's a pricing, you're the newest, what's a pricing objection that you would toss out there if you were with a seller that has a house in his head overpriced?
Well, from what I've learned from what you say, it's like, okay, if they're willing to less right now, I would say, okay, we could try that out and see how it goes, and then give it a period, and then you'll see if it sells. And if it's not, I don't want it to go stale, and we'll bring it a little lower.
Okay, that's awesome. Kathy, what do you got?
Are we objecting or are we answering an objection?
You're objecting to his price. My house is worth $1 million and you know it's worth 900.
Oh,
So you're objecting. So what's your objection you're gonna toss out there to get him down to his 900?
Gosh. How about if I do a trend analysis form for you? Would that
Morning.
help you?
What's a trend analysis?
Well, basically, I'll pull together a report and I will show you what's selling in what price ranges and how long it's taking. That's just the quick.
All right,
That's
that's
helpful.
yeah, it would be. Thank you. Let's look at that. Let's go Kay next. Oh, Kay, hang on. Are you ready? Oh, you're on
He's
mute.
muted.
Gorgeous. There you go.
One of those mornings.
I hear ya.
I would say, my first thing would be to say, well, do you want to list your property or do you want to sell your property? If you want to sell your property, we need to look at, and then I usually give them 3 houses and I say, pick the one that is most like yours. This is what it's sold for. This is what this is what the market is telling us your house is worth. I've had selling objections, where they say, yeah, but my neighbor said this and so down the street sold for that. And I don't really need to sell it. And I really want $1.3 million and it's worth 900. And, then I go down the path. Well, let's go ahead. Let's list it. Let's price it. Let's list it. And if we don't get any agreement, if we don't sell it within X amount, are you willing to go down by this amount? And I pre-plan what the pricing adjustments will be up front with them, so they have that in their head.
Beautiful. Love it. Bree, toss one out for us.
Well, first of all, I want to say, Nellie, I love the term stale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't get stale because, what would I say? Well, I think I like what Kay was saying as well. Is do you want to list it or do you want to sell it?
Mm-hmm.
And then give them the numbers to try and get them. I don't know if I say anything different. Pricing objection. I'm struggling with an investor that keeps coming in low.
For his offers?
Yes.
All right, let's switch around to that one. How do we
So
do
me,
that? Who wants the low ball?
so he came in 60,000 under on each property.
And they're
Mhm.
asking?
Under asking.
Right.
And the listing agent actually entertained me.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been going back and forth 5 times,
Yep.
which is unheard of because usually they just move on.
Right.
And so I've been asking for his highest and best.
So
Absolutely.
that's super interesting. Was there a high days on market for the offers for the homes that he was making? offers on?
They're off market. She's about to put them on the market.
Oh, they're
So
off
I'm
market.
trying to snag it before it goes on the market.
Gotcha.
And he doesn't, and one went under contract. There were 5.
Okay, now we're down to 4.
Now we're down to 4. So
All right.
he's just hard-headed. He thinks it's not a seller's market.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's hilarious. Let's go around then. Nellie, what do you got for a buyer that wants to write low? And it's okay. You can say pass if you want to.
You might lose the property this way because there's a lot of people. It is a hot market out there.
Okay. Kathy, what do you got for a buyer who wants to lowball?
I think that what she's going through with her client is really typical. I went through training with fortune builders,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
and that's typical of what
They
they teach in wholesaling. Well,
They teach it all the time. They teach it,
all the time.
but they do.
Yeah, that's what they teach you to do. They teach you to just go as low as you absolutely can. And part of that's true because that's where you make the most of your money.
Well, yeah, you make on the buy side and it's psychological, but how would you handle trying to get your buyer to write a higher offer?
I think I would take the approach just opposite of the one that has been tossed around on the last one, the pricing objection that was too high, is go, do you want to buy a property or do you just want to
Right.
put an offer in?
What do you want to write? All right.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Good. Kay, what do you
Good.
got? Oh, nope, no drinking coffee.
Oh, I know, goodness. I'm trying to get revved up this morning.
Woo woo.
But what I basically would say is, do you really want this property? Let's look at your return on it over the long term. And I'd look at his ROI, depending on what he was going to do it, what he was going to use it for. And say, or do you want to move on?
Love it. Michael, you got anything for a buyer that wants to lowball?
Lowball?
Yep, a lowball buyer.
What I usually say is you don't want to insult the seller.
That's a good one.
Right.
I've definitely heard that one.
I said that, they're going to close their mind off to you after this and you won't have a chance.
Yep.
And that is true, by the way.
It is true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. There's a lot of times that the seller, the listing agent is offended.
Which is
And-
ridiculous, by the way, but
Yeah,
that's
that
what
is
happens.
stupid. It's because your job as an agent is to, I don't know what, sell their house. I was just like, man, don't get offended on me. Get
Well,
off-
let the guy keep making offers. I mean, that's just so stupid, but that's
Yeah,
what happens. Yeah.
And I've got renters for him. On
So
all four, they're going to be rented out for the next 2 years.
pre-rented, I love that. So I think I would
All
go back, if
right.
the guy's gonna lowball and he's lowballing a bunch and he's hoping to get 1 or 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever he's going after. I think I would come in with here's a rule of thumb that we used to follow when the market was really badly tanked. We're like, you can make an offer, and as long as that offer is within 10 to 20% only off, then probably, and you'll know your number. Maybe it's 5 to 10% from list price.
Right.
You can safely
Right.
come in at this amount, and we can probably get them to negotiate with us. Because I know, let me ask you this. Are you just throwing a number out there to get the ball rolling? And usually that's the thought behind it. I just want to get the ball rolling and so I can negotiate, meet somewhere in the middle. And that's the thing, because I want to win and it's negotiation and that's how this works. So are you just tossing a number out there so that we can get the negotiations going and get the ball rolling? Is that kind of your thought process here? Yes. Awesome. What we have found in this market is that you can safely come in at X% to X%. My typical market, it was within 10 to 20%. As long as you made an offer, no more than, if the house was listed at 100, you needed to come in at least at 90, sometimes 80, and you can negotiate through. 90, I knew I could safely negotiate. 80, I pushed the guy.
I always say 10% maximum off the list price. In this area, it would have to be a problem with the house to get to do that.
Right.
Like if she's
Right.
got off market or high days on market. High days on market, I do that. And then when I would submit the offer, I would make sure I contacted every agent on the other side. And I would say, look, I know that this offer is on the low side. And if your seller, doesn't want to accept it outright, which is fine, we just need you to counter back to us. So
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Try to encourage the counter at the very
get a
beginning.
counter back. Yep. Because
I've gotten 4 counters.
see, nice.
All right, that's good
Nice.
though.
It's
Yeah.
very
But,
good.
and I told them, I was like, this agent is engaging, which is more than most agents.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
agents don't, and it's a battle. And there have been times when I've actually find out from a broker what state law is, but I've actually taken the offer and presented it straight to, which in Washington state, I was completely legal to do. And all I had to do is say that my buyer insists that I present this directly to your seller. You can be there and I want you there. It's not like I'm trying to circumvent you, but my buyer's insisting I submit straight to the listing or the seller. And then I submit it, I talk about it, and then I say, did you want to sign right now? I want to talk with my agent. Awesome. I'm going to walk out. I've got 2 phone calls. I'll leave you all and I'll just knock on the door when I'm done. But I just get up and walk out and I leave everything there. So I've done that also because sometimes agents, I don't trust some agents to present. I know legally you have,
Right.
I don't trust
Right.
them. I just don't.
I agree. Yeah.
So that's one way to get around it, is just present straight to the seller. But find out from your broker what state law is, because I just know that you're legally allowed to do that in Washington, and I believe
We
in.
can do that here too.
Yep, then it's a qualification that your buyer is insisting upon. And that's how you circumvent that. My buyer insists I do this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have any of you talked with the buyers and basically said, let's submit a little higher than what we want to pay and wait till after we do the inspections and then we'll negotiate?
I've used negotiation as a tool before, a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here, most properties are being sold without inspection now, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, Mike, I really do encourage you to run a trend report in your area, just because I think.
Run a what?
Trend.
Trend.
What is it? Say it again.
Trend, TRENDS, trends. So a trend is it's not named that in your MLS. It's something that I called it. And what it is you pull, don't sort out bedroom, bathroom, square footage, nothing. Just pull the area, for instance, the town, zip code, city, neighborhoods, whatever, but pull an area and then run the raw report on the MLS that gives you every single thing in a single line. And it gives you the list price average, sales price average, days on market average. And if it has list price over sales price ratio, great. If not, just crunch the number and get it on your own. Run that from 0 to 30 days. Only change the dates. Same report, run it again, 31 to 60 days. Only change the date, third time, 61 to 90 days. And it will give you 3 reports, and then do a little graph of the averages, list price, averages sales price, averages days on market, and average ratio. And then just look at what the trends are doing in your area.
No,
Because
I do those things a lot, and
can you do me a favor? Can you send me one of those then, a current one of those? Because I would love to see what's going on in your area. Would that be okay?
sure.
I love it. Awesome sauce. Send me one of those. Okay, cool beans. I'm gonna ask Bree to unmute now. All right. Well, that was a good one on objections on both sides. You guys have an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you.
Mm.
Bye,
Oh,
everyone.
I do
what?
this. No, never mind. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll tell you guys about the Stanford study about $5 that were given to the Stanford students. We'll talk about that. It was a really good one. You'll like it.
Can I ask a really quick question? Does anybody have like a template of a letter going out to listing in the community, in your neighborhood?
Massive on Really Flow.
Okay.
Massive. Look on Really Flow and look underneath the marketing campaigns, and you'll see letters that match up with all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Ton. You
All
are
right.
welcome. All right, you guys, go sell a house.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.